الحمد لله الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد. So inshallah ta'ala we in the next half an hour 45 minutes try to go over relatively quickly the issue of zakat, most to do with the fiqh of zakat, so that we can inshallah ta'ala prepare for the next whole month of Ramadan that we have. But the cursor is not coming to where it should come. Cursor को set कीजिए. Read. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد. This is the third pillar of Islam, zakat being the third pillar of Islam. And it literally means to purify, to grow, to have the blessing. And that is why the word tazkiyah, purification, zakah has come from the same root. In general term, it is also called sadaqah, to justify, to testify, to confirm your faith. Sadaqah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used in Quran, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ. The sadaqat are for the poor people, and 8 categories are mentioned. And why sadaqah? Because sadaqah confirms your faith in Allah. Whatever you claimed, you are with your monetary donation confirming it. That I do not love my wealth more than the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would let it go. I would part it. Whatever I need to take out, I would do. Because Allah commanded me to do so. So sadaqah. Although in our cultural norm, sadaqah means the money that you give to poor people to avert some trouble. And there is blessing in it. And there's a hadith to back it up. That any charity that you do, it averts the problem away from you. Anything which has come, it would avert it. Anything that may potentially come, it would avert it. It's quite beneficial to do charity. And sadaqah, or the charity, it never reduces the financial strength of the individual. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, we just trust it. And there's quite clear explanation of that, but that's, as I said, is not the topic for today. Today we just focus on the fiqh of fasting. And it's obligatory. When was it become obligatory? On the first Ramadan in the year second after Hijrah. A previous nation had the obligation of zakat as well, but they had different quantum, different nisab, different value, 25%, more, less. And it is mentioned in Quran about 22 times with salah. So this is how significant it is. After shahada, salah, zakat come together. Aqimu salah wa atu zakat. And if someone rejects it, that I do not believe in zakat, why Allah would need it? Then they have left Islam. They don't consider Muslim anymore. And if they say, I know it is obligation, but I don't pay, for whatever reason, then this individual is committing a major sin. So how does it become obligation? From the saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in explaining this ayah of Quran, وَالَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ. Long ayah from Surah Tawbah. That those people who do not take their wealth out to donate to people, rather they do the kanz, they hoard it, they accumulate it. For them there is a severe punishment. يَوْمَ يُحْمَ عَلَيْهَا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained all in detail. When this ayah was revealed, the Sahaba found it very stressful, because they were like, how would we be able to answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We've been holding, we have got some wealth sitting with us. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said that I would go and ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to clarify this, because it is really causing anxiety in me as well. Everyone is like that. So he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then mentioned, Allah has made zakat obligatory simply to purify your remaining property. Meaning whatever you hold, as long as you've taken that 2.5% or whatever zakat due on you in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you've purified the rest. Rest is okay to keep. So that's where the obligation comes. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also warned about hoarding it and not paying zakat, saying that whoever does that, he's been wealthy, Allah has given him enough, he does not pay zakat. So then on the day of judgment, the wealth would be like a bald-headed poisonous male snake with 2 black spots on his eyes, and will continue to encircle the neck and cheek, and will continue to bite him. So keep saying that I am your wealth, I am your treasure, which you are holding or accumulating. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then recited this ayah, وَالَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَهَا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ إلى آخره. So zakat, in real term, it is a divine duty. It is an obligation. It is not charity. It is not charity at all. It is not a tax. This is not your money. It has to come out. You have to let it be with someone else. So that is why when you know that this is not my money, whatever I earned, this 2.5%, for example, has to go out of my pocket, my bank, my saving, then you would automatically know that individual has done a favor rather than you doing a favor to him and saying, oh, I've been giving you zakat, here you are, showing me your teeth. You don't do that. You would be rather thanking him in your heart, saying, Jazakallahu khairah. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a hadith said there will be a time when you would go out to pay zakat and there will be no one to take it from. There will be so much affluence in the end of time. So during the time of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, Imam Mahdi, rahimahullah. So do your charity way before that. So zakat is something which doesn't belong to you. You have to take it out. It is the right of poor people over the rich. And that is why it is a big sin. As Allah says in Quran, وَفِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ, and in their wealth is a portion for the needy, for the beggars, for the people who ask for help. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was commanded to take خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً تُطَهِّرُهُمْ. O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, take money from their wealth, take a portion of their money, which is zakat, sadaqah, take from their wealth to purify them. So this is how you get purification. Anyway, what is the definition of zakat? Zakat is transferring the ownership of a portion of your wealth to someone who is eligible recipient on annual basis with the clear intention to fulfill that obligation. Okay, we break that down in a minute. So it is an obligation on who? Every Muslim who is sane, legally responsible, meaning that he's baligh, meaning he's got sense. He's not physically baligh, but could be, abnormal. He has to be sane as well. And baligh and pubertal, mature. And he must be in possession of nisab being the quantum. We did describe that in a minute. And this should be in the state of holder, being a holder of nisab. They are the owner of nisab, sahibul nisab for whole year. They must be, the individual must be in this state of being the owner of, a holder of nisab. There's a big misconception we clarify in a minute about every money having a year on, okay? And it should be in excess of your basic needs, your bills, debts, or whatever you have, excluding. So this is a net saving, net money sitting with you. That's how you become sahibul nisab. So It is not only paid on wealth that you have saved or kept for a whole Islamic year. It is dependent on your estate, provided you acquire that estate. So what is that estate? So the first time ever in your life, after being pubertal, mature, you own the nisab. Imagine this is 350, roughly. So 350 pounds is the silver nisab, for example. It's more or less, well, I will show you how much. So that 300, 400 pounds, 400 pounds in your account today, you receive as a gift, as inheritance, as a donation, and as a first ever income, or you got married and someone gave you some gold or whatever, and that is the value. If you ever have this much and you do not have any responsibilities, like you do not have to have food bought with that money, you do not need to pay any bill that is due on you already, you do not have any debts, so everything is covered. Now this is just pure net saving with you. You are Sahib al-Nisab on that Islamic date, lunar date, not month. That date is your anniversary. You must know that anniversary. That's a big problem. People think that I'll pay zakat in Ramadan. No, you don't. You pay at the time when you were Sahib al-Nisab, a year later and the same date. So this day, say it was 3rd of Dhul Qa'dah. That 3rd of Dhul Qa'dah, when you first become the owner of that quantum, about 400 roughly, then you are Sahib al-Nisab. Male, female, individually, separately. No one is responsible for anyone else's zakat. It's like your prayer. On that day, exactly the same date, a year later, you have to pay zakat on whatever you have accumulated, provided it doesn't come below 400, whichever was the nisab of the time. So that's a long line. On that graph, you continue to be up and down, yo-yoing up and down, here and there, wherever. One day you had this month you earned 5,000 pounds and the saving was 3,000. Next month you had only 1,000 pounds, but it's still not going below the quantum line, keeping up, yo-yoing. It doesn't matter. On that date next year, 3rd of Dhul Qa'dah, next year, whatever is in your account, whatever is your saving today, above, doesn't have to be whatever. 400, then 400 is, so you would have to pay only 10 pounds zakat on that, which is 2.5%. Or you have to, whatever you have on that day, 5,000 only come that day, a new money. You do not need to use it for anything. You sold something, you just got that money. You just got inheritance. You got halal income from a mean that you were not expecting. You dug a gold and you got this like 5,000 pound worth of gold. You have to pay zakat on that. It doesn't matter. So that gold, you only had it for a day. You have to pay zakat on everything that you have on that day, surplus. Net income. Is that clear? This is where many people get confused, and this is the most widely accepted view and understanding, and this is the safest, easiest, simplest way. Some other imams said it has to be that you have to pay zakat throughout the year. Every day you get whatever extra little you get. You keep checking it and keep doing it on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, every day. So you do zakat throughout the year. As you pray throughout the year, that is very, very difficult. And practically no one follows that. Maybe someone does, Allah knows. But by and large, this is the safest, easiest, and simplest. And as I said, majority Hanafi views is this. And that makes sense. Because you are in the state of holder of that nisab. That's it. That counts. Whatever is surplus, you have to pay 2.5 to purify. You're purifying that wealth on that date. So it is a snapshot or balance sheet calculation, not income or cash flow related at all. Yes? I hope it's very clear now, inshallah ta'ala. Fluctuation throughout the year is irrelevant unless it drops below the nisab level. Any question on that? Hope clear, yeah? Good.
If it drops below the nisab, then you become Sahib nisab.
You're not at some other point. Yeah, so that would be your new date. So you've gone down below nisab and you're zero, and then a few months later you become Sahibul Nisab, that Islamic date would become your Nisab date.
But you can be recipient of Zakat when you're below.
When you're below that, yeah. Once you are, we'll come to that for the recipients. And that is why now you know there's a trend. Alhamdulillah, no more. Alhamdulillah, with this generation, the previous generation, yeah, our generation, or above our generation, people used to do that corruption, circumventing Sharia, like Ashab al-Sabt, the sabbatical, not doing anything on Friday or on Saturday. Rather, we had this big hole dug on, we put our net on Friday. Nothing done on Saturday technically, and only collect our fish all the next day, Monday, Sunday, not Saturday. So we have technically not done anything on Saturday. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them by changing them into, they were disfigured into donkeys and dogs and pigs and monkeys, different animals, or whatever. So Allah says, they became monkeys, monkey-like. That was a punishment from Allah because they circumvented Sharia. People do the same. I am the owner of, I'm just telling you, don't ever try it. It's what people used to do. So I have got this money, I will keep it until 11 months pass. Just a month, few days before I give it all to you as my gift. Oh, my friend, you take it. I haven't got nothing. I'm zero. So no zakat on me. You are Sahibul Nisab today, 11-month time, back to me. So husband, wife doing it, siblings doing it, friends doing it. So then you can see where they are now. They're beggars, or even if they're rich, they've left faith, or their children have left faith. Now they're crying. And even if they make whatever money they make, what are you making money on? 2.5% to purify your own gold? It is as someone is coming to scratch some of the wounds of your body, some bugs and some stuff on your body. Someone is coming to clean your nose when you are completely disabled, lying like that. You're covered with poo and someone is cleaning it. And you say, no, I hate that individual. Please keep exchanging our poo with each other so I can continue to have it. I want to keep it with me. That's just like poo, really. It must be out. You should feel agitated if you had it for long enough. What am I doing with this filth with me? This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his family, they're not allowed to have it. This is a gunk coming out of the wealth. I was really very happy to keep it. And the mindset, it's a lot. It's not a lot. It is from all the saving, 97.5%. You still keep it with you. 97.5 is with you. 2.5 is going out after you've met all your needs and essentials and bills and everything. But the shaitan and the nafs would tell you to think about 2.5%. What about 97.5% in your bank? Is there any comparison? Now, in the current time where you pay tax, if you pay, I hope you do. So when you pay taxes, how much do you pay? 40%, 45%. 45%. 40%. Consultant doctors, senior post, posh people. It does. Because you earn a lot and you give nearly half of your wealth, and that's plus extra on your national insurance and whatever government does. So you actually get less than half of what you earn. And that is without taking into consideration your necessity. It may be that I need more than that because I've got 4 families. Who knows? You might need only 1/3 of whatever you're earning. So you and me paying the same amount of tax. Before anyone knows what are your needs. So the Islamic way is so beautiful. It is all independently tailored. You do whatever you want to do. You have it, eat it, finish it, don't hoard it. If you really have enough, you should have enough sense and love and care and compassion for your fellow Muslims. And it is going to benefit you, by the way. The society overall would be affluent because if they come to the level where they are all in need of basic food, they're going to come and rob you. There'll be crimes. They are bound to make those drastic steps. They have to make those choices to come and attack you. And if they're living in the same society, keep looking at you. If they're weak and they can't attack you, or they're religious and they don't attack you, if they're pious, they don't want to touch you, even then, deep down their hearts, they are feeling bad about you. They have evil eye for you. They would be jealous of you. All of that would have impact on you and your children and your family. But actually, you are helping yourself in life hereafter and in this world and getting a better, decent, sensible society. But unfortunately, we don't look at that. No one is responsible for anyone else's zakat. But if someone does it, alhamdulillah, that's paid with the intention or permission of that individual. So if you quietly paid zakat on behalf of your wife and she doesn't even know, it's not done. You get the reward of nafil charity, but she hasn't paid her zakat. She must know. Many a time in our culture, people just assume, most wives assume that husband would pay. It's not his responsibility. It's not his responsibility at all. Even if he never paid, and you felt that, oh, my husband would have paid, and he never, he hasn't betrayed you, hasn't done anything wrong, your problem. You should have think about it. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, again, your problem. Not knowing the law is your problem. You should have learned it. How come you know that you shouldn't be respecting or looking after or honoring or feeding your husband? You don't have to cook food or you don't have to look after the in-laws. That, but you know, you Google it and search all around. All your rights and none of your responsibility. You know it all. How come you don't know about your responsibility towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with regards to zakah? Hajj, all your responsibility. Now the men are not told to not do it, and we don't encourage them to not do it because this is a good thing. As it is a good thing that you look after your in-laws, your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, they must be looked after by you. That is Islamic, very Islamic, deep down Islamic. Being technical never helps. Follow the wise people, not the media scholars or self-acclaimed scholars. So one should have a clear calculation. So they should know exactly. You can't just say, I think I have got this much money and I roughly do it. Calculate it, work it out, because zakat do change with time. Because the gold value, silver value, it could go up and down a little bit here and there. And then make sure that you know how much. So the rest you can do. Because nafs would make you feel that I've been doing a lot of charity. Every month I do this much. It only when you count it and calculate it, then you realize, I wasn't really paying all of it. I did less. And in your mind, shaitan and nafs would make you feel that you're doing a lot. So don't ever do that. Again, are you sahib al-nisab? Oh, my wife does gold. That's her being sahib al-nisab, not you. That is quite possible. The husband hasn't got money and wife has, and vice versa. Wife hasn't got any gold, but the husband has got some saving. Okay, so important to know. If someone has interest money, they ask about, obviously, this silly question. It's all haram, throw it away. It's a poison. Not just poo, it's another P. Poisonous snake. This is a python. Get it out. You can't keep it. 100% out. Given away without hoping a reward for that. You don't give out your poisons hoping that someone will say, thank you, sir, for letting me have your snakes. Gold and silver are subject to zakat, even if they're for the personal use. Imam Ahmad and certain other Imams consider personal jewelry not to be included in zakatable asset. But that's not the view of Ahnaf and majority. Diamond and other personal stones, they are not zakatable. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't include them, and it was available then, they were not considered. Now they're much more expensive than even the gold. So gold and silver are the two metals which are zakatable. Others are not. Now, if you want to really save your money in the form of diamond, that's your choice. You can do it. But remember that there is always a problem with these. They can go up and down with time. It is all demand and supply thing, isn't it? Those precious stones. If no one is interested, they will just lose their value. Gold and silver would always have it because this is deeply somehow it has become an integral part of our societies from early on. So personal items made of a mixture of metals are only zakatable if half or more of the metal is gold or silver. Okay? Less than, not counted. So what is nisab? The guaranteed minimum financial base above which an individual is deemed to be sahibul nisab, and he is liable, which is in Islamic terms, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam dictated as 20 mithqal of gold and 200 dirhams of silver. And that would come to 87.48 grams of gold and 612.36 grams of silver. So if you just know this much, you can just check what is 1 gram gold value today. Once you had it, time it whatever, however much you have, time it into pounds, and you get it. So 612.36 grams of silver. If a person only has gold, now this is a very important point. The gold nisab is only for those who just have gold, nothing else. If you have gold plus silver plus cash, then you can only apply silver nisab. Now there's a discussion among fuqaha these days, current days, due to poverty, due to the wide difference between silver and gold value, that there's been discussion or questions raised by certain fuqaha. Is there a possibility that we should now use gold nisab more than silver? But obviously, that is not the view held by scholars of fuqaha, mujtahid imams yet. And inshallah, that it wouldn't be, because there's a lot of problem with that. Well, it means that you're now looking at the individual who has to pay zakat. This is where the idea is. Because you remember, if you say that you have to have gold nisab, what does that mean? You've got plenty of leeway, and I will show you how much would that be. This is about 6,000 plus, 6,500 pounds you have. Anything below that, you don't have to pay zakat. You still got 6,500 pounds sitting with you. Just below that, 6,000, and you're happy, man. Don't have to pay any zakat on that. When you take silver nisab, it is very low. So it helps the zakat payer than the zakat receiver, the poor man. Who should you be? When you say a lot of problem with poverty and whatnot, who deserve to be respected and cared for more, especially in the modern time. Especially in the modern time, when in the name of deen, there is a big craze, I would say, going on, whereby people use zakat for any act of obedience, like any charity work. In America, they have been given this fatwa by their local so-called muftis, or whoever they are, where they say you can give zakat to the building of masjid. You can give zakat to any charity work. All the charity work there. So they're building their mosque with zakat. This is not at all permissible. And I'll come to that in a minute. What that does, everything now is being paid into building huge mosques. All the tile work, all the new carpets to show off. I need more money. What would Masajid do these days? Just before Ramadan. Don't do anything. Just before Ramadan. Recarpet masjid, which you never needed. Repaint it. Get some new things done so as to show the congregation, here we are doing something new. Can we have some? Keep hoarding that money, keep accumulating, finding another property, getting another property. In the name of, you've got quite a lot of projects done. There is no sense in there, and there's no need for that, and it's highly problematic, because you are causing a big problem to the common poor people who only could have this money once a year, because Ummah has already gravitated toward Ramadan, where they pay their zakat, which is bad. Because as you must have deciphered by then now that it could be any time of the year, your zakat, depending on your anniversary of zakat. Now, I want to do in Ramadan to get more reward. No, you won't get more reward. You will get more reward, obviously, technically, but no, your intention is not there. You are not there to help people. You are doing it in order for you to just feel good that you got more reward. You've got plenty for their opportunities. Do charity in Ramadan. You keep a zakat for Ramadan so that you get more reward, plus the fact that I don't need to do anything. I've given enough zakat £2,000 in Ramadan. So you know what? Have you done enough? Well, you haven't done enough because that was your obligation. So the mindset changes completely from the rich actually hoarding that money, at least in their mind. Even if they let it go out, it doesn't leave their heart, it doesn't leave their mind. So hence, no purification, no tazkiyah happening. So the poor people resort to then committing all the haram. They're going into prostitution, they're going into selling their children to get some money. And there's a big problem in the society, isn't there? So what are you doing for that? You are the one causing all of that trouble. There's no way you can be absolved from that responsibility. So attitude has changed for this reason, and it's very, very bad. So anyway, someone just has gold, then only purely gold, not even £1 extra. Then they would use gold nisab. If they have £1 plus gold, like most women may in the current time, it is inconceivable, but may just have gold, which they got on their wedding. And the husband is so stingy, he doesn't give any pocket money. So maybe they just have no cash to their hand. They haven't got any saving. So they just get whatever they need from their husband. Right? So then their nasab is gold only.
But they have something silver, then it comes to silver.
If they have silver, if they have cash, all becomes silver straight away. So the only gold, 6,466 as of today. I just calculated this morning. That is today. A silver, £380, roughly 400, £380. If someone has that, then they have to pay zakat. Means they become sahibun nisab. You can imagine many youth, many young boys and girls, the minute they become pubertal, they already have their child trust fund or whatever they've been claiming. Their parents are claiming, or their father putting in their account for their education in the future. All of that counts. You have to pay zakat. The minute you become pubertal, from that year onward, you are sahibun nisab. That's your money. Next year on that lunar calendar, you should be paying zakat. Done? Okay. So I just leave this just as a simple point. There is this concept. Sometimes people do not have enough wealth to pay zakat on. Means they do not have gold, they do not have silver, they do not have land, but they have got a piece of land which they are going to use for the person, house, whatever they want to do. They want to just live on that. At the moment they're living in their rental accommodation, that's a piece of land, I will build my house. So they don't have to pay zakat on that land because this is their personal use land. But that is big enough, long enough, has been with them and it's been big enough that if they sold it, they can become sahib nisab to pay zakat on. But they're not using it as yet. So they tend to, so there's a concept that they shouldn't be receiving zakat either. Even if they don't pay, they are not a recipient of zakat. But I leave it for the time being because it's not, a little detail there. So the example, Zaid has valued his zakatable asset to be 5,000 on his zakat anniversary. He owes 4,900 to his brother and he has no money owing to him. His zakatable asset are therefore only £100. So, and this is below the nisab threshold. He is not going to pay anything on it. But he's free. Zaida had 3,000. So she owes 100,000, oh, sorry, 1,000 to someone and 3,000 to another friend. So now what she has got altogether, £5,000. So this makes zakat liability of 2.5%. That becomes 5,000 is on 5,000 is £125. Okay, £25 per thousand. It's 2.5 100,000 25. Yeah, time per.
If the other person the friend will not return with the money.
So if you know that this is gone, or so it's like a loan, but you don't expect it to come back to you ever, then you can ignore that. But if you received it at some point in future, say 5 years time, all of a sudden he has given it back to you, you're shocked and joyous, obviously overjoyed, but then you have to pay all previous years worth of zakat on that.
So for first 3 years, you thought he'll give it back to you. You paid zakat on it. 4th year, you said, no, he's giving it back. Then, what about those 3 years which you have given?
No, that's fine. If you've paid zakat on that, that's done. So the further year you have to do. The year that you haven't paid zakat, you will have to pay zakat.
No. I'm saying if someone owes you 5,000 pounds, for first year you thought, okay, he'll give it back to me. So you have paid zakat. 4th year, he will never give it back. So you stop paying zakat.
Yes, you can stop.
Saying that 3 years paid and we reduce that same amount from the current zakat.
जो 3 साल पहले की दी है, लाइक उसे देने नहीं पैसे और पता चल गया,
सही
लेकिन आपने दे दी zakat.
So you,
So
Can
वो
you
आप
claim it
claim
back?
कर-
It's like,
as in from him or from in your
No,
own
from
account?
our assets.
Okay, yeah. So if you ever paid zakat on some money, that you've paid zakat, and if you calculated that I've overpaid, yeah, that could be readjusted to the next year.
And one more thing, Sheikh. If somebody have given a Qardi Hasana to the master,
Qarzi Hasana, yeah.
Does he yeah, I was about to ask that. Does he need to calculate that as to his?
Very good question. Now the qard or loan is loan. It's quite common to say qardi hasana. Qardi hasana means good loan. We just mean it culturally that qardi hasana is the one where you do not impose on the other party to pay it back. You do not give any time unless you need it, which is a good thing. Generally, qard is supposed to be like that, although you can appoint a time and you can mutually agree on a time. There's nothing wrong with that. So the qard hasan is whenever you give loan to someone, this is hasan, this is good. Now, it doesn't matter whether you've given it to masjid or to individual, to whoever. This is your saving. That is the bank, that is the money which is treasure kept somewhere, safe, in a way that it would be returned back to you. 5 years' time, 10 years' time, that's perhaps you don't know. You may never get it back, but you know that it will come back to me. If you know that it will come back to you, then you have to pay zakat on that. That is your saving. That is your saving. Now, many people think that what's the point of giving loan to anyone, because you have to pay zakat on that, and over time it may just be there'll be some inflation. So there may be just depreciation there through that. So the answer to that is twofold. Number one, it is technically a possible solution that the person who has taken loan from you, he pays zakat from his goodwill, from his free will. You can't ask him to do that. That condition would make it interest. It's haram to ask for anything on that lend money. But if he does on his own and tells you, alhamdulillah. So when you take some money from someone, maybe you could pay zakat on your, and tell them, by the way, I've paid zakat on this loan, inshallah. But anyway, you are loaning someone to get not just 1, 2, 5,000 ad'afan kathira. You're loaning someone to get a lot of reward back. A lot of reward. And you wouldn't understand how much when you are really in need of on the day of judgment, then you would find out, oh my goodness, I didn't expect that. So that is to save you from hellfire. A good return would be made on the day of judgment. This is Allah's promise for loan. So why would someone not want to do it? This is the saving for your life hereafter. Even at the cost of some trouble in this world. Because many a time you give loan and then you don't get it back. People are not trustworthy these days, unfortunately. But if someone asks for loan, I would advise that only give that much which you can very easily absorb, which doesn't make you, come on the street. So don't be jazbati, especially when they get, public speaker coming and shouting and making your iman go above the 7th heaven, and you all of a sudden feel like donating everything in masjid on that day to masjid charity work or whatever, and you come home and your wife slaps you and you wake up and you say, oh my goodness, what did I do? We've got this plan and that thing or whatever coming up, fees, and then you want to take it back and they're not going to give it back to you. Oh, I'm teasing, I'm just exaggerating, but that shouldn't be the case. You always give whenever you want to give with your clear conscience. You want to do it willingly, not cajoled into it, not forced into it, not encouraged to the point that you didn't even know what you're doing. You just done it because everyone is doing. I feel under the pressure and I regret afterwards. That charity is not considered charity. It is not considered And it's not halal for the masjid to use that money or any charity for that money or any individual. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam very categorically mentioned that the mal of a Muslim doesn't become halal for another one unless he has willingly let it happen. It must come willingly. And it is for everyone. Whoever owns any money, for example, wife earns something, husband cannot take without her permission. Vice versa. Husband's earning, wife cannot. Yes, there's implied understanding, mutual, nicely twisting the arm with a big kiss and hug and whatever. That's a different thing. You can, buy someone into your love. That's a different matter. You can make someone do it. You can't force someone without them knowing behind their back. It would not be halal.
So the summary is they need to pay the car.
Yes.
Linked to the loan to the masjid.
Whatever loan you have given to anyone, you have to pay zakat on that. And if you obviously in future let it all be to the masjid, that's fine. Then you don't have to. If there's a possibility, keep it open. If you think that this masjid is so weak that I'm not hoping that they're going to give it back to me in the next 5 years, 10 years, I'm part of the committee, for example, I know it, then maybe just let it wait until you get it back and then pay all the previous years. That may be a lot, whatever. So you make your choices. You have the choice, but that would remain a debt on you. And you'll be answerable for that on the debt. That is a saving for you.
Sorry, if I owe someone money and I've taken loan, so I pay zakat on that loan or?
So whatever, so you borrowed money from someone and you want to pay zakat of that on his behalf.
Which is better? So if for example, I owe my wife 4,000 pounds. So I'm in loan, so I've taken 4,000 away from my zakat calculation. She has given loan, so she's paying zakat on that 4,000 because she's given. What is better way? Should I pay or she pay?
Up to you. Be both ways fine. Whoever wants to do it, but it is her responsibility. She can't ask you or demand you. If you did it, you say, by the way, I've got some extra cash I've just paid on behalf as a gesture of love or whatever, care for you. You don't have to pay because you've done a good service to give me that big amount. And since I'm waiting for another year, so maybe it will be too much for you. So I've done it without her demanding it, without the lender demanding it. So if you did it, from your point, is a very good thing. But generally, it's not done. So I don't think that it might be wise in the current time when people are so corrupt spiritually that it will become a norm for people to, we know, I'm only giving it to you. I know that you're going to return it back to me. I will be paying zakat on that, by the way. Do you know that? Yes. Yeah, it's a big amount, isn't it? Yeah. Hinting to the point that you pay zakat on a yearly basis. Otherwise, I'm not going to give it to you. Not saying it, but implying it. So the way the corruption is, going, perhaps that's why you don't hear ulama saying it.
That's the topic of the gold. So all the generation systems don't go to gold, but they do have gold. So how is it their responsibility, how they are going to, manage paying zakat? Do they need to get rid of the gold?
Yeah, 2 ways. Either they buy a ring or something that would be equal to the value of their zakat, or they borrow from someone. Say, you give me £100, I've got to pay £100 on zakat, £500 or whatever. They can borrow and then later on pay it back to them through their pocket money if they get anything from their family, from their spouses. Otherwise, they keep selling their bits from the gold to the point where they come to the below nisab threshold. If that's the only thing, they've got they've got $10 as opposed to 87 point, they've got 100 grams. So once it's back to 87.5 gram, fine. Then they're no more sahib nisab. Enjoy that much gold. Don't keep accumulating. Don't keep going up.
Yeah, sure. So let's say someone just got compensated just before Ramadan. And then when he's calculating his zakat, does he have to include that money? Because he just recently come, let's say.
Say again, sorry. Say again.
Someone's got compensated for whatever reasons, like personal injury or accident.
From some, yeah.
So before he calculates his zakat, before Ramadan, and then the money just came literally, let's say 2 weeks ago. So does he have to include that money?
On that anniversary date, as I mentioned, if this is an anniversary, for example, your anniversary for zakat is 1st of Ramadan. So you just got 2 weeks ago, only last night, you have to pay zakat on that. Whatever you get as a net on, that was a snapshot of that day. Hence the significance of knowing the date. Because it may be that a night before, you have already paid £5,000 to the ticket of Hajj or whatever, so all gone out now. Now you're planning to go for Hajj next month or 2 months time, whenever is it. You haven't paid that, you have to pay zakah. It must be out on that day, by that day, unless you've been given the bill. So for example, you're planning to do it, I have kept it aside for Hajj. No, you can't do that. If it is with you, you have to pay zakat of that. If you want to really go, get it out of your pocket before the zakat date. Oh, I'm planning to pay for my tuition fees. That is next month, £9,000, or whenever that is, £6,000. And I'm keeping it. You can't keep it. I'm keeping it for the wedding, my daughter, next month or 3 months' time. Do whatever. It is not for future. Yes, unless you are in debt. You've already booked something. That's fine. You've already booked your Hajj. Get it out. Because you might not go there. Who knows? Things might change. Circumstances might change.
Doctor, if money is with Saudi government at the moment,
That's
we
fine.
are waiting.
Yeah, it's gone, then it's gone.
It's gone, yeah.
If it's not with you, then you're okay.
But if we don't go,
So I mean, would you get the return money
Yeah.
returned back? At the moment, it's not with you, so inshallah ta'ala. We
Yeah.
hope you will go, inshallah.
inshallah.
Sorry to.
Yeah.
Similar question on that line, when I asked, so this person have taken a loan, and not from the high state, but somebody have lent him Qadi Hasana, but the due date for him is in July, but now he's collecting money to pay that off in July, so he's holding some money in his account.
So he has borrowed some money from someone.
And his due date to pay back is in July, but he's collecting money now, so he has some money, say, £10,000. His due date is in July. So now he got 4,500 sitting in his bank, which is supposed to be, top up and then paid in July.
Yeah.
So what's the?
So on that date, when we said that, say it is first Ramadan. So first Ramadan is today. You identify that I have got a loan of 10,000, but I've already accumulated 4,000. So you have to, obviously, from that 4,000, 10,000, you're still in minus. You have to, from your net saving, deduct all the loan. So if you deduct the loan from there, you are still in debt. So as long as you have no liability and no bills to pay, then it's fine. That £4,000, you don't have to pay anything.
No.
Now some mortgage, I know it's haram.
Yeah, so mortgage, conventional mortgage is haram, clearly, obviously, but if someone has it, so are they considered under debt? The scholars have given a leeway for the current time for a year worth of installments. For the next 12 months, whatever installments you have to pay, you can calculate, add it up and deduct it from your net saving. Just a principle for the whole next year.
So if it comes £1,000 a month, you can deduct 12,000.
12,000 from your net savings. But it's preferable to not do that, because since it is bad, since it is haram, since it is differed upon issue, it's better. 12,000 mein kitne bacha loge yaar? 1,000 to 12,000, how much would that be?
Yeah, 250. Yeah.
250 pounds. You're going to be rich by saving 250 pounds.
And if the money is in the child fund account for 13 years old, which you can't touch unless they are 16 or 18.
Then they don't have to pay zakat until they have access to it.
Oh.
Nothing to worry about that. Once they get to the age and they get access to that wealth, from that time or a year later, they will pay zakat on.
So it's going to be on this. For example, I have my children's accounts. They can't access that money, but they have liquid gold. So there's high and some. So do I include that money into their calculation? Because it's their money.
No. But as long as they have not got access to it, it is not counted. It's like your pension pot from the government, which you do not have any control over. You don't have to pay zakat on that. You start paying from the time when you receive it. And that becomes.
No, I can't use it. Because it's child's account. I can't.
No,
So
no one
that's
can touch it until
and
18.
Only they will use it when they're above 18 and they have to transfer. I don't know what they are.
Even also the private pension, you can't touch it before the age of 56 or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Private pension, the problem is you can touch it, but they would take a lot of money out of it.
Yeah.
They penalize you for that. There's a big penalty for that. And that is why it's not considered okay. Private pension, you have to pay zakat every year. Personal pension schemes that you have incorporated, you have included in your lifestyle, that is your money, you have to pay zakat on
Means they
whatever
got-
your share.
Means that is, which is with the employer.
Yes. If this is a private, not the company owned. So your employer has created a pension,
Yeah, that's.
and that's them. You don't know anything. You don't know where to invest. They didn't ask you. They just say, you want to get part of this? Yeah, you're involved in that. That's fine. So that's them, and they pay a portion as well. That's not a problem. You don't have to pay zakat on that. But the pension that you privately say, you know what? Let me just get this nice pension scheme online. You offered it, you got accepted, and you're paying into that. That saving is your bank. That is your extra money. You have to pay zakat on that every year. Whatever is your portion, that whatever is your contribution in that. Obviously, it's just your contribution. It is like you're putting in a pot somewhere for your future.
What about your business account? Because business accounts carry, for example, the money which we don't own, like you have charged VAT, you have to return it back, but it's sitting in your account. Also, when you make a profit, so there is 20% tax liability as well. So how do we work that out?
So there's a very good explanation of that by Mufti Abdurrahman ibn Yusuf Mangira. I've mentioned it a few times as like little detail, but inshallah ta'ala, I will send it to you. I've got a recording in his way, and also I've explained that as well in Urdu and English as well. So आपको भेज दूँ so that देख लीजिएगा. मेरा भी दिमाग बहुत घूमता है चक्कर में. Financial line जो है ना, बहुत ही यहाँ के system में ठीक ठाक गड़बड़ थी. अल्लाह फजल फरमाए. You have to take into consideration because there's difference of opinion, 2-3 different. That will be too tedious at this point. Inshallah ta'ala, important. Recipients, we know there are 8 recipients. Quran mentioned them, so I would just maybe skip. You want to have a look at that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ فقراء, faqir, the very poor people, وَالْمَسَاكِينَ وَالْعَامِلِينَ, Amilin, those who collect zakat. Now, this important point about that. Amilin, big problem. Many of the charity organizations, they claim to be Amilin of zakat. So we are the distributor of zakat. You can't be. No, you're not. And what they do, they take it. You can be, but they can't take zakat as their personal, fees or whatever. We are Amil of zakat, or we are taking some money from the charity, from people's zakat money. That's not permissible because there is a big problem with that. Amilin, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Quran, when they implemented it, there's a concept which is these people are appointed by government to go out and collect the zakat from people. And they will be paid from that zakat money as well. The charity organizations are not working. This is the reverse of that. Who appoints the charity? The person who is giving zakat is appointing them to find the poor individual. Whereas here, the government has given the money, people has given money to the government, and government or the Baitul Mal, common people has right to that zakat from Baitul Mal. They appointed, means they given the permission to the government to appoint individuals to collect zakat on our behalf and bring it back to us. Understand that? So technically, all the poor people in the society who has the right to this money, these poor people have the right to this zakat money. Government, the Baitul Mal, that section now takes the responsibility with the permission, implied permission of common people. Your wealth would be in Baitul Mal. Are we allowed to go and collect it on your behalf and give it back to you? People will say yes. That is implied. That is understood. Then they go out. Say, okay, I have appointed 5 people to go and collect money in this area as a Baitul Mal person. They would go collect money and give it to you, oh poor people. So you are the one appointed these people because you couldn't go door to door from the government banner or badge or card. They could. They would go collect the money, give it to you, and they will be paid for that service that they are providing you. So that's okay. Whereas the charity people, when they claim the charity, who are these people working for? For the rich people. They are taking money from rich people and saying, your charity will we find poor people for you. It's the reverse. Where the Baitul Mal find donators on behalf of charity people. You as a non-government organization, no poor people have ever asked you to do it. It's not your responsibility. Why are you doing it? And you're taking zakat from the economy.
So if you put that into a context, like, for example, let's talk about Islamic Aid. In their website, they say, pay zakat. Can they take?
So what they say that what all the Islamic charities or the good charities in the world generally, well, the concept is that you give us money, we would donate your money in the right avenues, the proper places. But there's a big problem because it's not run by scholars most of the time. When it's not run by scholars, they do not understand the nitty-gritty. They do not know the detail. What they do, they just put. So I have taken your zakat, 500 people, and I have given it to this orphanage. I have built this masjid. I've built these few wells. We have dug well in desert area. People are benefiting from it. You couldn't do that. Why? Conditions. What are the conditions?
Eligible or
I made it very clear. Let me just have a quick, because that is very important to know. I think we just finish it up to that, and the rest of the bits we will cover at some point.
Because of these organizations, people are really easy. They can just go to any charity,
Exactly.
Islamic Aid, Muslim Aid, they say that they go there and select zakat and then pay whatever they want.
Big problem.
And
So
then,
who is this? So the condition that I mentioned in the beginning, which will be shown in some of the slides as well in a minute. What are the conditions? Number one, that you no that obviously plus that. What is the technical thing? The technical thing is that it must come out exactly ownership. Ownership. Who have you made owner of that wealth? Your zakat 2.5%, say it's £1,000. You have given it to the charity. Who is the owner of that money? No one is at this point. Yes? But that person, the charity, if he finds a poor man here and there and give him that money, 100 to this, 200 to this, 50 to this, alhamdulillah. What they do? We have created this nice place for people to live in. This shade, this house, this, masjid or this madrasa, this place. And people would go there and live there, poor people. This well, now you've dug a well with your £1,000 in a desert. Who is the owner of that? Who's in charge of that? No one is. It's a place open to everyone who is walking past. Maybe next month you're traveling to that area without knowing, you just take water from this because you need to have some water. You're using your own zakat money for your personal need. Hindu coming, Muslim coming, Christian coming, Sikh coming, taking water from that. Who are you paying zakat to? So these charities tend to not know who they are giving it to. So most of the time, they just collect it. And I have seen in different even masajid, unfortunately. That's why masjid shouldn't collect zakat. They had at the top saying zakat, lillah, sadaqah. And the problem is they don't even know the difference between lillah and sadaqah, the same thing. But anyway, they do. And then once it accidentally remained open, the door, I was in the masjid for a bit late, some late, don't know what I was, maybe talk or whatever. And everyone left. I just was behind, went to the toilet, maybe, I can't recall, but somehow it came out. And that man, caretaker, opened the gate. And I saw him from behind, without knowing, unintentionally. There was no partition inside. It's all open. Open box, big box, no partition inside. Wallahi, with my own
house on the top.
With this partition at the top. It's all been mixed. Your zakat is mixed with sadaqah, charity, whatever you're doing. You know what? You are responsible for that. It is like, I didn't know. I just let my daughter's hand into this man who came and knocked at the door, said, easy for you to get wedding. Can you let me have your daughter for my son? Oh, yeah. You found that there was fraud. Who is to be blamed? You. How dare you do that? You are responsible. Do charity only. Fi sabilillah, give it to whoever you want to give. Masjid, never give any zakat. Madrasa, yes, because madrasa are run by ulama generally. If it's run by ulama back home generally, and even here, then give it to ulama. As long as there's some Maulana written there. Alhamdulillah, good thing is, most people would not have Maulana written before their name if they're not a properly qualified madrasa alim. They call themselves Sheikh so and so, whatever they are. This is better. So at least we have kept this word safe for ulama. So if it says Maulana or Mufti something, inshallah, it's more likely that they are qualified madrasa people, and you can investigate as you would normally do. So is it run by, okay, what do you do with the zakat? They might do hila, and there's a problem and some benefit of that, but that's leave it aside. As long as they're ulama, they would know what they're doing. They know how to make sure that your zakat is paid. You understand that? It is very, very important to never give your zakat on to any online charity, any online claim or what you call the thingy the people come in, shows, the appeal, the online appeal, live appeal. And they bring all the big Muslim celebrities coming and singers coming and nasheed artists coming and they're singing and keep getting money. 3-course meal for charity. What sort of drama is that? And the travel expenses are paid by that money. Are you giving zakat in there? You're thinking that your zakat is well paid. This is what happened when you stood so low in your knowledge and understanding and connection with the ulama. We have abandoned ulama, and there are very, very few left. Now we go after these non-surah ulamas, the quacks, and we think we have been served. It has made so easy my life. Yes, very soon you would be doing your tawaf in 1 minute, all 7 rounds. You'll be standing in that electric circuitry train, and you do 700. How many times do you want to do? 500 pounds, you can do 500. You wouldn't feel a thing. You're just sleeping, sitting like that. I've done my dhikr. And I'm out. I've done 500 tawaf, one for every one of my family members.
Finally,
Yes, ease could be there, but we're not into this. We are into spiritual life.
Is it okay to give it to your parents?
Very good question. Zakat, you cannot pay to your parents. You cannot give it to your children. Up and down. You cannot pay to your spouse, which is like here, husband, wife, husband, top and bottom. Sideways, your cousins, brothers, siblings, they can be paid. You can pay zakat. Whoever you are not responsible for, whoever you are not catering for, or he's not catering for you, you can not give them. Everyone else. Your siblings are not your responsibility.
Give it to his parents to give it to the poor. Is that what you mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let them distribute on your behalf because they hopefully will make sure that they know. Sometimes they don't even know if they've got enough knowledge, inshallah. So normally find individuals. The best places are the ulama. Jazakallah khair for clarification. The best people are the ulama. If you find the ulama, ask them, can I give my zakat to you? If you trust them and they qualified ulama, they will inshallah find a very good avenue. And they tend to be God-fearing anyway. Because if they know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through their teaching, they know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam through their teaching and learning, and to be honest, what is the chance that they wouldn't, follow the Sharia? Then I myself, as a common man, it's very likely that I would, follow my desires and whims, and having bad opinion of the heirs of Prophet. That's very bad. Yeah, there are quacks, they are bad ulama as well. They are truly properly trained, but completely corrupt ulama. I know them. You all know. Not talking about it, there's a minority. Likewise in medicine, you've got bad doctors as well. Shouldn't blame all the doctors for that. There's some good ones as well. Even if you don't believe, but there are good ones as well. The majority are. That's why you go to them for help. You go to ulama.
So, Dr. if it's a relative and they don't have anything and all the issues are there, hospitals and
Yeah, definitely. Is the best. A companion came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, can I give my zakat to my cousin, my family member, extended family member? you will get double reward. One for zakat itself, and one for silatul raham, maintaining the ties of relationship. That's even better. But definitely do that. Definitely do that.
So basically, we can give the heart to the relative.
Definitely, it's much more rewarding. Always find your relatives first before you do go out anywhere. And second, back home we have these workers in the house, car driver, gatekeeper, the lady cleaning the house. We look around in the world, charity, phoning this online thing and not helping those very nearby to us. And that's very bad. They deserve more than you think of. You say, no, we give them that's the idea. People think that they've become a bit more big-headed. If they become poor, they wouldn't be our slave anymore, emotionally or psychologically. That's a very bad attitude. We should be fearing Allah. That is why there's no barakah in our family, in our lives. We've been doing it, paying zakat, praying, and nothing is happening according to how we feel that we should have. No barakah in the family. And then we complain why Allah's help is not coming. Because everything we do, there is corruption in it, unfortunately. Because of lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom, lack of spirituality. And then we say, oh, army, enemy are doing this. And obviously, Trump can do whatever he wants to do. Netanyahu can definitely do whatever, but we're so weak. We've not got any connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The enemy can say and do. And when they say, you know what, we just believe that. Even if it's a cartoonic episode, you still believe that maybe he is right. Maybe he's going to take everything. Maybe he's going to do. Tomorrow they all stand up and they say, you know what, we're taking Kaaba and we'll be looking after that and we'll be one providing Hajj services. People would say, although this is crazy, but it may happen. Don't you think? If they say, would you reject that? Is there a possibility? Yeah, there is definitely. Why? Because we have abandoned our deen. We have abandoned our deen ourselves. What can we do? Whatever we do, it has to be materially driven. Even to the point in the life hereafter, if I get more reward there, then I wouldn't do this. Let me just find out, just Googling the best way of getting more reward in the less time. Instant gratification. If it is deferred, it must be huge to give me a kick and feel before I do it. Simple, something. Many people do it. What is a big deal of just adjusting those shoes on the shoe rack? There's a few shoes found downstairs. Anyone can do. I need something big. I could be seen. I could be seen. I could be known. I could get my TikTok, a picture there, likes there. So we have to make
giving zakat. But you know the person is eligible, but you're not sure. Should you ask him?
Ask him. Yeah, you can ask him or ask someone who might not, who knows him better. For example, if it's my extended family when I was young. Now, obviously, in my 50s, so it's 53, I'll be in April, inshallah. So it's easier. You become a little bit senior and people start seeing you with white hair. Then, but 20, 30 years back, I would ask mom. Because my mother would know the cousins and their family, whatever. Because it is impolite to ask someone directly who's your peers, your same level. And they might be rich in the past and they're now, in a little bit of a tough situation. So it might hurt them. So you don't have to tell them that you're giving them zakat, but you just want to make sure that they are eligible for it. So you can ask mom, dad, or cousin, or uncle, whoever, can you just verify? And they say, yeah, and I've checked it already. Then it's fine. But you must know that to the best of your ability, this individual deserves it. And as I said, keep your charity, keep your zakat, it's obligatory charity to only poor people, not organization, nowhere else. Because you can't guarantee any of. Yes, there's certain organization run by ulama, as I said, Mufti Taqi Ismail Sahib Daman Barakatum, his charity, mashallah. There's Baytul Salam from Muhammad Abdul Sattar Sahib, this good one, mashallah, that I know two from Pakistan. There are many. This is here run by ulama Mullah Salim Dhurasa in Leicester. So anyone like this who is so careful about even a penny, those are the people. They would take it as a responsibility that it is on my neck, on my shoulder. And you see that in their life. I personally know these people, that's why I mentioned them. So you can definitely go there. Inshallah, Allah will make it easy. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. So there was few important points, well, a lot of important points actually. Half of slides are done. So leave it some other time. Enough for the first fast.
One quick question.
Yeah.
You know, the You said that you can give it to driver or maybe working in the house. Even we are paying them, we still can give them zakat.
Yes, definitely. The eligibility of zakat is based on whether they have the quantum of nisab and they're not Muslim, and they're like, if they're Muslim and they have got like, they're not Sayyid and they have got no nisab, alhamdulillah, they're eligible for zakat, no matter who they are. But you cannot make that zakat included in your pay. So this month's 5,000, I'm just giving as zakat. You can't, that's haram. That wouldn't be paid. Dodgy, people do that dodgy thing, unfortunately. That's why I made a disclaimer there. Sorry. Yes. Yes.
So, sometimes, like you said, regarding the relatives, they have something, like, for example, a little bit of land, okay, once in a year, and you definitely know that even what they are getting from that land, that is not even enough. I have that question because we were talking about it, that they have that land.
What do they do with
that
that land? What do they do with that land?
They get like harvesting, so
Yes.
gandum, wagera, this and that. But I mean, you definitely know that even
not
that
enough.
is not enough for that for the whole year. But okay, that is helping towards their life.
Yes.
Would the land, what will be taken into account, the cost of the land or the cost of the harvest they produce?
Yeah.
Are they still eligible to get the car? Or how, is there any?
So because that piece of land they can sell and have enough wealth to be paying zakat. This one is barring them from buying anything. Paying zakat. So technically, they shouldn't be eligible for zakat. That is why one should be helping them out with their extra money. That is why I mentioned this idea 97.5 for this question. Similar question. You have got 97.5 pound per 100 sitting with you.
Basically, I think the question is, somebody got a land and they're producing, vegetables and stuff like that, but that income is not sufficient.
Income is not sufficient, but the piece of land is. Once they have run out of it, then obviously they become eligible for zakat. That is why the families should try and help other than zakat charity for these people. Every family, I would suggest, especially those who are mashallah based here, they have got enough influence and their pound obviously is strong, very strong. So what they can do, which they should, inshallah, I have definitely done it for the last 12 years or so. It's been helping a lot. What you do, you just create a small pool of money, zakat and non-zakat both, for certain people in your family. And this is all the people around this, make it among yourself a deal that, whoever needs anything, they approach you, you would just discuss in this group, make it approved by everyone, like 4 or 5 members, whoever, like, 1 or 2 people there, few people here, and inshallah, let everyone donate into. So what I suggested to my family, that, everyone should donate in that count, even if they are the recipient of that charity. So £1, even 1 rupees, 10 rupees, whatever it is, do it on a monthly basis. Because inshallah, with that, you would have this idea that I've been paying into it, however little, but at least my contribution is there. And then sooner or later, if inshallah you have flown, you can do more. And then you'll be taking from it is a responsibility of the family. It is our responsibility to look after them from our money. Otherwise, we'll be questioned. What happened? That we come here, we become rich, we start looking down upon us, they're all poor. How can I help so many? I can't. Every little counts. Work together. Otherwise, what tends to happen? There are certain family members who are strong enough, not financially, but words-wise, that they can speak to you. They haven't got any respect, self-respect. They approach you, and the next time approach you, within a few weeks, approach you, 3, 4 different people, but don't tell anyone. That's a disclaimer. Don't mention it to anyone. That's a promise that they want you to make with them. And you, out of respect, don't do it. But they are siphoning money from 2, 3 different people. And the quiet, simple, easy people, they don't get anything from anyone. So they are the ones suffering, and white-clothed one, they are not speaking to anyone.
So there's a concept happening, basically, in the charity. What they do is that they identify people below the poverty line, people who are really struggling. And then with this zakat money, they are creating a small business for them. For example, buying, 10 sheets. So they're making them, they're investing money on them to do something. Inshallah, next year, they will be able to give zakat to someone else. Is it right, the concept?
So if it was done with the charity money, not zakat money, that's the best thing one can do. This is what we do. Part of our game is this.
Yeah.
Our work is in the family, obviously. We haven't gone out. We can't go out at the moment. We're quite extended family. Everyone has extended family. So if taken all the furthest away family. So we should replicate this in their own families. This is all done from charity. We don't give any zakat to any of those families, even if someone is eligible, unless they're individually eligible. For example, illness of some sort, emergency, whatever. Then it's fine. But what they are doing, how robust is their system to check the individual? Number one, whether they are truly Muslim only, they're not Sayyids, they're really poor or not. It's just willy-nilly, you can't just go out. And second is, the person has no appetite for running after sheep. You've given him 10 sheep, next month he's already eaten them or sold them, and he's not interested in that. What are you doing is just imposing your judgment onto someone. For example, I just give you a small point on that. We had a small pool of zakat when I was doing my house job in medical school. Back in after medical school, you have to do a year as a junior doctor. So, and then during the training there, we had a patient who was Qari Hafiz, mashallah. So his spine was half broken. He could have, he just literally walking anytime could collapse, and that was due to TB. We thought he had TB in the spine. So he needed a scan for that. MRI scan in those days were 4,000. I'm talking about 1996, 98, between that time, around 1998. So we normally advise, this is your scan booked in NMC, we used to call it, the place called Nuclear Medicine something company or whatever. And so gave him this, got a rickshaw for him to sit in the rickshaw, taxi, go and get it done and come back. Gave him 4,000 pounds, 4,000 rupees for that in those days. And then he just came, he went, never returned back. So my seniors, they were like, you see, this is why we never pay money to the individual, we pay in that account and then make him go and do it. So there's a leeway, you can do that, but that is not right though. Islamically, you have not made in charge. He is aware of the risk. I explained him everything with clarity and he knew it. But it is me and you who are thinking that best for him is to have that scan and the treatment. You never know what has happened to his family. You never know if someone might be in the family has been enslaved. Who knows what happened to his daughter, his son? They might be kidnapped and he has to save them. He can't disclose all of that to you. You never asked him. So for him, he kept saying that I need to go to work, I need to do this, I've got very important things to do. That's his decision. As long as then whatever happened, that's his choice. You can't force people into doing something. If he decides whatever he decides, you can be a well-wisher and very sincerely advise them. If they accept, alhamdulillah. If they don't, that's their prerogative. That is why the word tamliq is very important. You let it be in their possession to do what they want to do. He said, I'm not going to give you zakat if you don't use it there. So you are not letting him do it. You are the one making that decision for him. You can very nicely, please. Once you get better, there's a potential for you to get more work and whatnot. And it's up to him. We'll make it easy, inshallah.
So it's give me after now. For example, someone in a shop and he sells stuff. So stock pe zakat dega ya shop ki कीमत पे भी zakat dega?
If a place, you have bought a place or you own a place where you're doing some business on, you don't have to pay zakat on that building. You just do on the stock.
तो ये प्रिंसिपल हम लैंड पे अप्लाई नहीं करेंगे।
हाँ तो ज़कात तो नहीं दे रहे ना, उसको तो नहीं ज़कात देने के
किसान
लिए।
को लैंड है, उनसे वो अनाज उगा रहे हैं,
हाँ,
तो अनाज से जो पैसे आएंगे उस पर ज़कात देंगे।
only उस पर होगी,
और
not on the
निसाब की
piece of
चीजें
land.
कैलकुलेट
हाँ
होगी।
हाँ बिल्कुल, not on the piece of
Practical
land.
जो
No,
सवाल
no,
है,
his question was about can he receive the zakat? It was about the recipient.
रिसीविंग में भी वो निसाब में तो काउंट नहीं होगा लैंड की कॉस्ट।
So that is why this, the one slide that I briefly touched upon was the zakat, the wealth that would make you not be eligible for zakat because you have got something you kept, and if you sold it, that would become your wealth that you could use. You're not using it for whatever reason. Obviously, they think that that is helping them out.
It's not so,
It-
it's not
exactly.
that
But with regards to this idea, there is a leeway. Let me look into that bit more with the Mufti Sahab, with my teacher, who I did my
निसाब की किस तरह काउंट होगा ज़कात रिसीविंग की होगी।
No, no, that's your work thing that you're doing. So with it, so again, if you have a land and you've got stock there, and you cannot take zakat, you have to sell it first because it's like I've got gold, but I kept it for my daughter, so I don't want to use it. You have to let it go first, and then you can have it. उस piece of land तो है ना आपके पास जो ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है, ठीक है उसको बिजनेस करना है, लेकिन ये है कि would Sharia consider, for example, it was a donkey that you ride and then get your work done, so there is a leeway for that. Well, a piece of land के लिए भी है कि I think उसमें significant difference of opinion है. Let me look into that. I'll come back to you on that.
Of families, they are, you know, what we were talking about, white clothes.
हम्म,
They are really super posh.
हाँ
They don't ask you.
बिल्कुल.
Okay, they have little bit of land which is not worth anything. Apart from वो बेचारे
Getting
थोड़ा
some food
सा
out of it, yeah, little
conditions
grains.
को ले लें और उनको फिर मतलब वो they never ask you. But my question is that if I could, you know, or we could do something.
तो साहब इसलिए भी अगर उसकी लैंड खावन की है नाम पे तो बेगम को ज़कात
हाँ ये possibility है.
बेगम को दे दो उसकी। क्योंकि वो
बालग बच्चे, that would be a better way. If but not small kids, has to be baligh. Pubertal children you can give zakat to, or the wife can, if the owner is that. But that's a good question. Let me just mull over that. Let me just discuss with Mufti Sahab.
वो एक जानवर उनको तोहफा दे दिया।
हाँ वो तो बहुत सही है.
एडिशन हो गया, दूध बेच लें, जगह तो आपके पास है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
तो इस तरह
कोशिश ये हो कि वो हम नॉन ज़कात से दें, लेकिन ये है कि you can. So let me just look into that. With थोड़ा सा clarity. Let me just get some clarity.
मकान का जो किराया आता है सर एक सवाल।
हाँ.
तो मकान पे तो नहीं होगा ना किराए पे ज़कात।
If you have the house for you know renting, then you do not have to pay zakat on that value of the accommodation. Rather,
Just
the
the
only
rent.
वो भी सब एक साथ शामिल
वो
हो.
घर का इंटेंशन ये हो कि बेच देंगे, then you pay the whole.
हाँ वो, लेकिन अभी रेंट पे है तो रेंट पे होगी, इंटेंशन तो चल रही है. फ्यूचर में बेचेंगे तो बेचेंगे.
एक क्वेश्चन, कुछ डिपॉजिट देना था, कुछ बाय कर रहे हैं, तो वो ये 2 वीक डिले हो गया, मगर वो ट्रांसफर नहीं किया था, मगर मुझे ये नहीं पता था कि अब वो भी मेरे अकाउंट में रहेंगे। अगर मैं कर देता तो वो अभी उसके ऊपर भी देनी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि वो तो मैं कर देना था, मगर मैंने कहा
वो आप पे ड्यू है, वो आया हुआ है आपके पेपर वर्क डील हो चुकी है सारी.
वो 2 वीक मतलब वो तो कह रहे हैं पहले भी कर दो, चाहे पिछले
हाँ,
कर
नहीं.
देते हैं 2 वीक।
As long as so this is a sort of a debt on you, जो आपको मतलब मेरा बिल आ गया इस महीने का, मैंने भी दिया नहीं, तो वो आप एक्सक्लूड कर सकते हैं. हाँ जो हो चुकी डील, होगी डील नेक्स्ट वीक, वो नहीं
होगी हुई है वो, मतलब
हाँ बस जो हो गई
वो
थी.
तो कहते हैं ट्रांसफर कर दो, मैंने
हाँ हाँ वो मसला
कहा
नहीं, वो तो उसकी अमानत हो गई. अब उसका पैसा है जो आपके पास पड़ा हुआ है, वो आप फौरन कर दीजिए. 2 क्वेश्चन क्या लिखे. Somebody asked me a question few years ago, do parents need to pay zakat on the money their children नाबालिग are keeping with them in their banks? No. बट छोटे बच्चों की, नाबालिग बच्चों की zakat नहीं होती. इस zakat applicable to pension हमने डिस्कस कर लिया कि pension, the one that you have privately, your own pension scheme, you have to pay zakat on that every year. जो गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से या आपके एम्प्लॉयर की तरफ से होती है, जो भी आपका एम्प्लॉयर हो, and they're just paying whatever they're doing, you haven't got any say there, then you don't have to pay zakat until you receive it. Whenever you receive, since that time. ठीक है, चलो इसको यहाँ छोड़ देते हैं. अस्सलाम वालेकुम.